10 Strangest Death Row Meals. Number 10. Gary Carl Simmons. Formerly a butcher from Mississippi, in 1996, Gary Simmons was placed on death row for murder. When his execution rolled around in 2012, Simmons decided to go all out. For his last meal, he requested a deep dish Pizza Hut pizza, 2 kilograms of Parmesan cheese, a 500-gram family-sized bag of nacho-flavored Doritos, 226 grams of nacho cheese, 100 ounces of jalapenos, 2 large strawberry milkshakes, 2 bottles of cherry Coke, a supersized order of fries, and 2 pints of strawberry ice cream. Simmons got everything he asked for, bringing his final feast to a staggering 29,000 calories. And impressively, the Mississippi Department of Corrections reported that Simmons managed to eat half of it. Number 9. James Edward Smith. On March 7, 1983, James Edward Smith shot a man to death while trying to rob the International Trade Center in Houston. He was arrested the same day, and languished on death row until his execution by lethal injection in 1990. When asked what he wanted for his last meal, he told the guards to go fetch him some dirt. Some have claimed that this dirt was to complete a voodoo ritual against the prison staff, but it seems more likely that he was just trying to annoy the guards. Either way, the request was denied. In the end, James had to settle for a pot of yogurt. Number 8. Ronnie Lee Gardner. The contents of this convicted murderer's last meal may not seem that strange, but Gardner had a bizarre request for what he wanted to do while enjoying his last dish on Earth. Before being executed by firing squad in 2010, Gardner asked for a steak, a lobster, and a side of apple pie. He also asked that he be allowed to watch the entirety of the Lord of the Rings trilogy after tucking in. The prison allowed it, and Gardner saw the movies while reading the crime novel Divine Justice. Number 7. Robert Buell. Buell was convicted of murdering an 11-year-old girl in 1982, and ended up spending 2 whole decades on death row. So he had plenty of time to think about his last meal before his eventual execution in 2002. When asked what he wanted to eat for his final meal, Buell replied that all he wanted was a single unpitted black olive. The prison obliged, although to this day no one knows why Buell made this strange demand. Rumours have it that the olive pit was found in Buell's pocket after his death and buried with him. Number 6. Ricky Ray Rector. In 1981, Ricky Rector was arrested for murdering 2 people and blowing off half of his head with a shotgun. Rector's shotgun lobotomy left him severely mentally impaired, but that didn't stop Arkansas executing him in 1992, with Governor Bill Clinton even flying in to oversee the event. Before he was killed though, Rector enjoyed a steak, fried chicken, cherry Kool-Aid, and a slice of pecan pie. He left the pie, and when they asked why, he allegedly replied, "I'm saving it for later." Whatever you think about Rector, that's a hell of a line to go out on. Number 5. Dilbert Teague Jr. Turning down a last meal is not exactly unusual, and Dilbert Teague, who murdered someone in a park in 1985, looked like he was about to do just that before his execution in 1998. Teague reportedly refused to eat a last meal, not wanting to play along with the guards. However, at the last minute, he was eventually convinced to tuck into a cheeseburger. Who persuaded Teague to change his mind? His mum. Mrs. Teague apparently marched into the cell and demanded that her son eat something. I guess she didn't want him to go to a lethal injection on an empty stomach. Number 4. Thomas Grasso. In the 90s, Thomas Grasso was a serial home robber around Oklahoma. He was finally arrested in 1995 after killing 2 people in separate burglaries. Sentenced to death by lethal injection, Grasso put a lot of thought into his last meal. Before his execution, the killer asked for steamed clams, steamed mussels, spare ribs, a cheeseburger, strawberries, pumpkin pie, multiple milkshakes, and a can of SpaghettiOs. He got everything except the SpaghettiOs, which were swapped out for spaghetti. Apparently, Grasso wasn't a fan of the substitution. Famously, his last words were, "I did not get my SpaghettiOs, I got spaghetti. I want the press to know this." Number 3. Adolf Eichmann. One of the most senior Nazis ever caught, Eichmann was primary organizer for the Holocaust. So it's not that surprising that, at his trial in 1961, Eichmann was found guilty of war crimes, crimes against humanity, and genocide. He was sentenced to hang to death and, before his execution in 1962, was offered a choice of final meal. Adolf requested only a bottle of Carmel and Israeli red wine. Apparently, he didn't see any irony in the organizer of the Holocaust drinking wine from a company owned by the Jewish Agency for Israel. Eichmann drank half the bottle before going to his death. Number 2. Philip Ray Workman. Convicted of murder in 1982, Workman was part of a trial so close that 5 jury members have since changed their mind about the conviction. Many still believe he was innocent, but that didn't stop the state of Tennessee executing him in 2007. For his last meal, Workman asked that the prison buy a large vegetarian pizza and give it to a homeless person. They refused, but word of this generous final act reached the public. On May 9, 2007, the day of Workman's execution, hundreds of people all over the country honoured his final wish and brought pizzas to their local homeless shelter. And number 1, Lawrence Russell Brewer. Everything's bigger in Texas, and apparently that includes last meals. In 1999, Texan Lawrence Russell Brewer was convicted of murdering James Byrd. Before he was finally executed in 2011, Brewer decided to get one back at the system by ordering a 3,500-calorie feast. The prisoner asked for a chicken fried steak, a triple cheeseburger, an omelette, a BBQ meat pizza, bread, fajitas, 3 root beers, ice cream, and peanut butter fudge. After the meal was delivered, Brewer refused to touch any of it, forcing the prison to throw all the food away. Brewer may be dead, but his final act left an impact behind him. Thanks to him, the state of Texas no longer offers last meal requests. So, those are 10 strangest death row meals. Which meal surprised you the most? Which last meal would you want on death row? Let us know in the comments below. And if you want more crime in your content, be sure to check out 10 most dangerous criminals on Earth.